Bhoge Rogabhayam, Kule Chuti Vitti Nirpaladbhayam, Mane Dainyabhayam, Bale Ripubhayam, Rupe Janayabhayam, Shastre Vadibhayam, Gune Khalabhayam, Kaye Kritantadbhayam, Sarvavastu Bhayannitam Bhubi, Nirnam Vairaggameva Bhayam. From the Bhortiriri Vairagya Shatakam. In enjoyment, there is the fear of disease. In social position, the fear of falling off. In wealth, the fear of hostile king. In honor, the fear of humiliation. In power, the fear of foemen. In beauty, the fear of old age. In scholarship, the fear of opponents. In virtue, the fear of scandal. In body, the fear of death. Everything in this world pertaining to human beings is fraught with fear. Renunciation alone makes one fearless. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be to all. This morning our topic is Stories of Vedanta Monks, Part 14. It is a series of lectures based on the reminiscences of the second generation monks of the Ramakrishna order. I collected these reminiscences from my memory, from my diaries, from my interviews with these great Swamis, and from their diaries, and from their letters. These Ramakrishna monks are very learned, deeply spiritual, really great monks. Some are great writers, great orators, great philanthropists. Holy company, how important in spiritual life. You cannot be a doctor by reading the medical books or Gray's Anatomy. You'll have to go to medical school, learn from the various teachers, from various doctors, then you will be a doctor. Same thing about spiritual life. If you really want to unveil the mystery, you must have association with holy people. Spiritual life is a journey. Continuously move on. If you lie down, your fortune lies down with you. If you sit, your fortune sits. If you stand up, your fortune stands up. And if you move on, your fortune moves on with you. So the Vedanta says, Charai Veti, move on, never stop. The moment you move on, you will fire, you will shine. The sun, the eternal traveler, is continuously moving. It never gets drowsiness. That is the reason the sun is bright. Sri Ramakrishna also told his disciples and followers, Egiye jao, move on. If you move on, he told that parable that a woodcut seller was told by a holy person, move on. He moved on, found sandalwood forest, very expensive, made lot of money. Then he was thinking that he did not ask me to stop, I must move on. Then he moved on, he found silver mine, gold mine, diamond mine, one after another. So moving on is extremely important in spiritual life. Never be stagnant. Spiritual life is just like a ladder. There are 9 steps of spiritual journey according to dualistic Vedanta. If you go step by step, you will reach the roof. The first step in spiritual life is Shraddha, faith in your Guru and the scriptures, sincerity. Second step of spiritual life is holy company. After having faith, you need some role model that who are practicing spiritual life. That is very helpful. Then you can learn from them how to do it. There are so many pitfalls in spiritual life we do not know. But these holy people, through their struggle, they know, and they will tell you, don't go this way, you will fall. In this way, we see this spiritual journey always moves on. Very, very interesting. In the third step, according to dualistic Vedanta, is called bhajana kriya. You learn from your teacher, you have saw the role models, but if you do not practice, nothing will avail. You will have to practice. Practice makes a person perfect. The fourth stage is called anartha nivritti. The moment you start to practice spiritual disciplines, many obstacles will come, but they will stop. Do you know why? At that time, your mind is focused toward your journey. So when the obstacles come, you will be able to face them. At that time, your mind will be very pure. So all the bad thoughts, bad ideas, bad impressions will not be able to attack you. It may, if they attack, you can know how to fight. There is a beautiful mantra in Katha Upanishad. Na virato dushcharita, na shanto, na samahito, na santa manasopi prajnanoinam apnuyat. Yama told Nachiketa, first you will have to get rid of your bad habits, bad desires. Your character must be good. Your senses must be controlled. Your mind must be calm, serene, subtle. Otherwise, only through intellect, you will not be able to make this spiritual journey. In the fifth stage, in the journey, we find nishtha. Nishtha means steadfast devotion. At that time, your mind is anchored in a spiritual life. It will never move. In the sixth stage comes ruchi, taste. Once you get the taste of spiritual life, it is very difficult to give up. If you really get joy in japa meditation, it is, if you do not do it, you will feel uncomfortable. Sri Ramakrishna told a very funny remark to M. M, the recorder of the gospel, started to visit Sri Ramakrishna. So, hey, that fellow again has come, Sri Ramakrishna said. Then he told a story. A man had a peacock, and every 4 o'clock in the afternoon he used to give a pill of opium to the peacock. And the peacock moves around, but every day at 4 o'clock it will come to you for a little dose of opium. That means you are hooked in a spiritual life. Opium. So this person who developed this kind of spiritual journey, he is hooked. He will move forward. From ruchi comes ashakti, attachment. Do you know what does attachment do? The moment I am separated from my beloved, I get pain. The moment I am separated from God, I get pain. I feel uncomfortable. I like to have union with God. That is called ashakti, attachment. In this 8th stage, develops love. Initial aspect of love. And the 9th stage, prema, mature love. But Swami, what are the signs of mature love? They gave 5 signs of mature love. Whether your love is matured at a stage you are strong or not, these are the 5 signs. First sign, Shanti. You will be unperturbed. Happiness, misery, disease, grief, nothing can perturb you. That is called Shanti. Second sign, you will get constant recollectedness of your beloved God. That is the sign of love. Third, Virakti, you are disgusted with worldly things. Fourth, egoless, you will be very humble. Fifth, longing, yearning, hunger, more hunger for God. These are the 5 signs of love, real love. So, that is the way we must move. Let us see. We shall now tell the story of Swami Dhireshananda, whom I knew from 1970 to 1998. He is a great Swami. I had very close connection with him about my spiritual journey. I learned many things from him, that I shall try to share with you. It was in 1970, February, 152 monks went to Lucknow for the dedication ceremony of the Vivekananda Polyclinic, started by Swami Dhireshananda. He came here. So on my way back from that dedication ceremony, I stopped in Benares. In Benares, we have 2 ashrama. One is the monastery, another is the hospital. Both are side by side. So, early in the morning, all monks will go to the temple and bow down to the master. So I went, and on my way, I found a monk with beard. I never met him. So I bowed down to him. He looked at me and said, "What is your name?" So I said, "My name is Chetanananda." "You write very well. Perhaps, did you have a Sanskrit background?" Then I told my background. "You see me." Saying this, he just left. Then I went to see him. He used to live Ambika Dham, and in the back there is a small room. I found that monk was absorbed most of the time in meditation and studying the scripture. And he applied Vedanta in his life. And he had quite a few students. Some monks would go, he was the monk's monk. He would train the monks. So some monks would go to him. My 2 friends, who at that time they were in Lucknow, in Concall, used to go to him for studying the scriptures. "I can teach you scripture on a condition." "What is your condition?" "The thing which I shall teach you, that you will have to memorize before you come to my class. Suppose I shall talk only 4 verses of the Gita, you must memorize and then come to me. Then only I shall teach you. Otherwise, only it's one way, I shall talk and you people will not contribute, it will not work." Well, he is very demanding about it. Very amazing person, I tell you frankly. He has so much depth. Some teachers, you will find their knowledge is very superficial. And some have tremendous depth. Not only that, they have experience. That counts a lot. They speak with conviction. It will work. When a real doctor gives a prescription medicine, this medicine will work. When he knows his diagnosis is 100% correct, medicine is correct. patient must be cured. That is called real teacher. That real teacher speaks that way. It will work. He was one of that kind of Swami, I tell you frankly. Most probably he was born in 1907. As a young, he became a monk. His guru was Swami Dhireshananda, and he got his sannyas in 1932. As I told you, from 1970 to 1998, he passed away in Hardwar, in Kankal. So we had very good connection. He wrote many letters to me. When I joined the monastery, I had a desire to learn the scriptures and especially to go to the Himalayas. It is very, we think that if I go to the Himalayas, I will be very spiritual. And another thing, do you know how I feel about life? Learn every day something new. Then your life will remain always fresh. You will never be old. Your body may be old, but your mind will always remain fresh. Swami Vivekananda was not only a teacher, he was a great learner. He learned every day something new. Otherwise, do you know what? You eat, you sleep, watch television, no reading, nothing, just, it does not work. Do you know what does it say? Human beings minus buddhi, intellect, is like animal. Human beings plus non-functioning intellect is just like animal man. Human beings with functioning buddhi is a rational man. Human beings plus enlightened buddhi means intellect, is a sage. This buddhi, intellect, can be sharpened. Study, thinking, discussion, learning from the holy people. That way you will gain a lot of wisdom. I sometimes tell people, those who are coming here regularly, month after month, year after year, you will find unconsciously these Vedantic teachings will penetrate inside you. And it will transform you. How? In our part of the country, especially in fall time, dew drops you will find in the morning on the grass, on the flower bed, on the flower petals, on the fruits. Dew drops. They fall at night. Then when the sun rises, they simply disappear. But these dew drops nourish the flowers, fruits, grass, everything. That is the way Vedanta teachings works. It will nourish your system, your mind, your intellect. That is the way it will work. So after that I did not have any connection, but then in 1977, I came to Hollywood in 1971. So in 1977, first time I visited India, and I stayed few days in Banaras. The Swami was at that time there. So I used to ask many questions. I used to tape his talk and write in my diary. And as I said, first 10 years I had no vacation, work. But I learned from this Swami many things which I wanted to know. How the monks lived in the Himalayas. He lived in the Himalayas from 1936 to 1969 and collected like 2 volumes like this. And he gave the name Sat Sangha Ratnavali. 2 volumes. It will be a book one day. Then I was very much impressed. I want to know the traditional Vedanta monks, how they live, depending only on God, carrying nothing, no money, no nothing. I like to know about them, that they have full dependence on God, how to live in this world that way. So I got many things from him. Do you know how I looked at it? He was just like a bee, collected honey from different flowers and brought them in the honeycomb. And he gave that honeycomb to me. Those diaries are like honeycomb, treasure trove, that he gave to me. Those two volumes, one volume I showed you, he gave the name Sat Sangha Ratna Boli, gems from the Guardian of Saints. I gave 30 lectures here based on those diaries I think in 1980s or early 90s. I gave 30 lectures from the diary of a monk. Those lectures are the quintessence of Vedanta philosophy. Most of you who have come here to start to learn Vedanta, these people experimented and demonstrated Vedanta. Instead of reading books, if you read them, you will really learn something. Then he gave me this diary. This is his treasure trove. Very small letters, very small. He wrote about the diary on 24th December 1982. I have a small diary I wrote in a very small letters. This I collected at 40 to 50 years, living with the Jari disciples and another monks. I like to give this to you because I may not live long, and if I die, they will throw away all my things into the Ganges or in the dustbin. So I like to send these things to you. So immediately I sent money. Maharaj sent by air mail. So these ones he sent by air mail, and the other ones he sent by sea mail. And then I acknowledged, and he was very happy. On 4th February 1983, he wrote that I am very happy that those things reached you. Those things I learned from the Uttarakhand means the Himalayan region. All the sadhus, their experiences and their stories and their journey of spiritual life and their very anecdotes, those things, I put them in my diaries. I am sending those things to you. So overnight I became a very rich person, you see. Without making effort, if you inherit a lot of wealth, you become rich overnight. So that is the way I feel about it. And the way he wrote in a beautiful letters and with subtitles. Then he wrote on the 25th October 1985, I have some more diaries, and I like to give those things to you because my days are very numbered. So I immediately sent money, and again he sent all those things to me. Then he gave me the permission that if you wish, you can print them. Then I met another person in Benares. His name was Gurudas Gupta. He was a principal of a college, bachelor, lived like a brahmachari. He was a disciple of Swami Dhireshananda. That man lived in Benares, in our ashrama. He used to collect these conversations and talks of these second generation monks in Benares Advaita Ashrama. You see, some are disciples of Holy Mother, Vivekananda, Brahmananda, Shivananda. So they used to tell their memoirs, their reminiscences among themselves. And this monk, this person, this principal of the college, he used to write down. And I got his diaries like this much. And those diaries helped me to write that they lived with God and God lived with them. I need some first-hand information. When you write something, you need some detailed first-hand information. Then your writing will be very living. Otherwise, base and gaze, it does not work. It becomes far-fetched. So this person helped me a lot. When he died, all his diaries were Swami Dhireshananda. The Dhireshananda gave those things to Raghuvarananda, and then when I went to India, I got all those things from them in 1986. 5th January 1984, Swami wrote. His handwriting, these are all his handwritings I Xerox and pasted in my manuscript. Very interesting. Obstacles in his spiritual life. First he talked. He quoted from the scripture, if you want in self-knowledge, knowledge of Brahman, there are 10 million obstacles. If you visit a temple, there are 5 million obstacles. If you go for taking bath in the Ganges, holy bath, there are 2.5 million obstacles. And if you want to give some charity, then 1.25 million obstacles. But these obstacles are invisible. You cannot see them. Krishna said this. So Bhima, the great hero of the Pandavas, said, Krishna, show me the obstacles. I shall destroy them with my mace. Krishna says, all right, today is a very auspicious day. Millions of people will go to the Ganges to take bath. You go there and find out the obstacles. So Bhima went there, moving around on the bank of the Ganges, carrying the mace on his shoulder. He was looking for obstacles. Whole day he did not find any obstacles. In the afternoon, evening, when he came back, Krishna, I did not see any obstacles. My goodness, I said there are 2.5 million obstacles during the bathing in the Ganges, and you did not find a single one. No. Then Krishna said, did you take bath in the Ganges? No, I was looking for obstacles. Then Krishna says, people from far, far away came and took bath in the Ganges, and they purified themselves, and you were there on the bank a whole day and you did not dip in the Ganges. That's an obstacle. Vidyayam dhanninam kochi tadardam harimandire tadardam jannavi tire tadardam dakshine kare. Sometimes desire comes to give some charity. Again, mind says, no, I shall keep my money. Why should I give? But that is one quarter obstacles, million obstacles. Very interesting. 10th October 1984, Banaras Shivashram. Swami had some cold. He wrote me, whole life is nothing but a dream. Dream. He was talking about Vedanta. How do you enjoy this world? The waking state? Through the senses. How do you enjoy this world in dream, in sleep? Through dream, through mind, through dream we enjoy this world. So he was talking about this whole human life is nothing but a dream. I remember a funny story of Diogenes, a great Greek philosopher. He used to teach human life is just like a dream. So his students became very curious. Really? Well, yes. Then they tied the Guru's leg with the rope and pulled him on the street. And his body was cuts and bruises. Then the disciple said, Diogenes, still do you hold that view that life is a dream? Well, of course, but it is a painful dream. This life is a very painful dream. Very interesting. So he was talking about those human beings are apparently, you may see, they are moving around, they are sleeping in ignorance. Then he quoted a beautiful passage from the scripture. Buddhi, intellect, marriage, ego. And they had a nice time, marriage life. And Buddhi was telling ego, you know, we have such a good time. Why shall we not awaken the Atman, that consciousness within us? We must share our joy to Atman. Ego said, never do that. The moment Atman will awaken, you will die, I will die. Because God consciousness when comes, the buddhi, intellect and ego dissolve. So buddhi, both we shall die. Please keep the Atman sleep inside. Don't awaken the Atman. So most of the people's Atman is sleeping. Oh, we are all playing with buddhi and ego. Intellect and ego play going on in this world. Very beautifully he mentioned that thing. He quoted this. It is in the scripture. Ahankara dhiyam bruti ma suptuayam prabodhaya uttite paramanande naham natvam nedam jagat. Say Parampati Atma, that Supreme Brahman, God. If God awakens inside you, your ego will go, your intellect, everything will disappear. Only God will play through you. Very interesting way he used to write to me. He wrote many letters. Many of the letters he quoted from the scriptures and some he told from his experience. 30th March 1981, Banaras Shivastram. I shall tell you a very beautiful story which I learned from other monks. It is a war between mongoose and the cobra. That is the story. Mongoose and cobra. They have enmity. Mongoose attacks the cobra and cobra attacks the mongoose. When the cobra attacks the mongoose, injects the poison, mongoose immediately runs away and it goes to the forest, and the mongoose knows a kind of root of a plant. It has a power to remove the poison from the body. So the mongoose goes there and jigs and gets the root, snip or chew that root, and immediately becomes free from poison, and again it comes back, again it attacks the cobra. This is the war. Then immediately says that in your day-to-day life, you maybe suffer from various kinds of problems. Physical problem, mental problem, social problem, family problem. There are so many problems in our life. But when these problems attack you, like this cobra, try to poison your life, go and learn how to dig within and find the Atman. The moment you touch the Atman, you will be healed instantly. That he was talking. How to touch that Atman, God within. Your all problems will be solved. November 1981, Banaras Shivastram. He was talking about this whole world is nothing but a movie show that I learned from a monk. He wrote to me. When you go to see movie, what do you see? There's a big screen. We are all, perhaps you have a popcorn and Coke with you. That is an American movie, popcorn and Coke. Some people have a big, I saw popcorn. So what happens, this in the back, you will find the projector and the reel of the film. Small pictures are there. And behind is the electric, that light focus through the screen, and it goes to the screen. Sometimes we think heavy rain. Sometimes we think we see fire. In the movie, when we see, I went to see that Universal Studio in Hollywood. I went to Disney Studio. When I was in Hollywood, I used to see all those things. I still remember when they gave me a gadget tour in Disney Studio. I was telling the other day that, I saw, when I was in India, I saw only one English movie in my life, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. The Jules Verne's, that Captain Nemo and Nautilus, that's the movie I saw first in my life. English movie. So Mr. Hens, the vice president of Disneyland, he was the animator of that movie, and he was my guide. And he was showing me, Swami, that most of the shots are taken, he showed me a tank. Well, most of the thing which you saw was made in this tank, but we took some ocean shots, that's all. I could not believe that how they make such kind of movie. Anyhow, he was telling that when you see on the screen rain or fire, you go and touch the screen, it is not wet, it is not burnt either. But we have the vision, that person is martyred, it is rain, this kind of view comes when you see the movie. So he was talking about that machine, that projector, that is buddhi. And that small pictures, those are all our desires, projected by light, that is Maya, electric light. Through this light, that pictures, they are small on the celluloid, that reel, it becomes big, large, and all these things. So that is the power of Maya. So these pictures are impressed on the Atman, and all this knowledge comes. That screen on the movie house, that is the Atman. Unperturbed, does not change. Fire, water cannot wait, fire cannot burn. That screen remains the same. So in human Atman within us, it remains the same. But we are always projecting through the buddhi, the mind, through our desires. Constantly projecting. That is called life. Then it is 5th March 1982, Banaras Sevashram. I wrote that book, How a Shepherd Boy Became a Saint. It is a life of Latu Maharaj, Swami Dhireshananda. That Swami, the disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, was fully 100% illiterate. Came from Chhapra district of Bihar. And he and Swami Shuddhananda went to listen to a class on Katha Upanishad by a Pandit, by a scholar. So I wrote that story, and he wrote me back, do you know, that story Swami Shuddhananda told me. So he wrote in details, which I could not get it. In his diary, he wrote in details what Swami Shuddhananda told him. But when that Pandit was explaining that verse, Swami Adbhutananda said, Sudhir, Shuddhananda's pre-monastic name, I experienced it. It is like this class, if you, all of a sudden, if you get up, I experience it. Do you know what? A funny story, let me tell you. In our training center, we had a Swami, a brahmachari. So our principal Swami was explaining the Bhagavad Gita, the science of a divine nature and demoniacal nature. It is 16th chapter of the Gita. So one brahmachari got up and said, Swami, I experienced the Gita. So all are very, my goodness, this brahmachari experienced the Bhagavad Gita. Then he said, Swami, all the science you mentioned about the demoniacal nature, all are in me. All bad science I have experienced. Very funny. Anyhow, this Swami was started to talk but I experienced it. What is experience? I shall read that verse, then you will understand what I mean. The Purusha, Atman, not larger than a thumb, the inner self, always dwells in the hearts of human beings. Let a man separate him from his body with steadiness, as one separates the tender stalk from a blade of grass. Let him know that self is bright as the immortal, yea, as the bright as the immortal. That is the last verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Do you know what he is talking about? He is talking about, here is a, perhaps you have seen in the grass, from the inner, if you pull it, you can separate the stalk from the grass. So he says that a lower Brahman can completely separate the Atman from the body. And this Swami says, I experienced that. We have problem. We do not know how to separate the Atman from the body. We are so much body conscious. So he says, I have experienced it. Because I have experienced the Atman, the self. So the Swami was telling Swami Chetanananda, Maharaj, please keep quiet. It is class is going on. He kept quiet for a few minutes and, hey Sudhir, I experienced it. Pandit said the right thing. Maharaj, keep quiet. After a short time, hey, I experienced it. Then Chetanananda said, Maharaj, let us go back home. So he took him out from the class and came to the center. And they used to share the same room. Then at night, midnight, Sudhir, I experienced it. The Pandit said the right thing. Again, Maharaj, this is all right, you please sleep. He never slept. Then again he was, Sudhir, I experienced it. Whole night this went on. He is mentioned that when a Nwara Brahman experiences it, he shares. This is the truth. Then he mentions about happiness and misery. It is all out of karma. Do not blame anybody about your happiness, about your misery. You are happy because you did good. You are unhappy because you did wrong. Do not blame anybody. But happiness is just like a dream. When you are seeing, it disappears. Misery is just like a bubbles in the water. It appears and disappears. Both are the same. That is the way a Nwara Brahman thinks about happiness and misery and transcend both. Very interesting. Then I wrote to him, please write to me what are the important books on Vedanta philosophy that I can write. So he gave me a list. 24th December 1982. He mentioned B.B. Kuchudamani, Gradual of Discrimination by Shankara, Atmabodha, Self-Knowledge by Shankara, Tattvabodha, Upadeshasri. These are all Shankara's books. Panchadoshi, that I am giving class now on Tuesdays. Nishkarma Siddhi, Vedanta Shara. These are he gave a list of books you can read. Then I asked him, why don't you write a small treatise for us so that we can get a glimpse of the whole Vedanta philosophy? Then he said, I am too old. I cannot write anymore like this. I am just waiting for my call. Then he mentioned some people blessed the Jiji Bishet Shata Gesama live 100 years. Well, that is not a blessing, that is a curse for me. If somebody says live long, his body is now affected by disease and old age, it is better to go. Then he mentioned about the self-knowledge. Shukadeva went to Janaka, and Janaka asked, whether his knowledge of Brahman is right or wrong. So he wanted to have a test. So he went to King Janaka. Janaka asked him that you have seen a whole city, what have you seen? Well, I have seen some sugar dolls moving around. What are you seeing right now? I see you are a sugar doll, I am a sugar doll. We are talking, exchanging ideas. You go home. You have attained the knowledge of Brahman. Because you have seen that oneness, unity in variety, diversity. You have realized the truth. Go home. Then he wrote, 4th February 1983, he wrote to me, you know, some people talk about Vedanta. They have no experience. Experience is the most important thing. Then he mentioned, there was a little boy who was trained by his father. He could quote the scriptures from his memory and charmed the people. So one day he was charming the king and the court. All of a sudden, a small bird came to that place, and this little boy went and jumped to catch that bird. Then the minister said, "Oh king, do you see this little boy? He is quoting the scriptures and charming all of us." That his father put into his brain. But his real nature is to catch the bird. And that is his normal nature. These things are superimposed. So there are some people only talk about God, Vedanta, quote the scripture, superficial. They do not have experience. First February 1977, Banaras. After breakfast, I went to his room. I saw he was seated on his bed. Then he said, you know, people are looking for grace of God. There are 4 kinds of grace. First grace is grace of the Guru. Out of compassion, the Guru gives a mantra and instructs his about his spiritual life. Second, Shastra Kripa, grace of the scripture. If you read Bhagavad Gita every day, you will Upanishad, you will find Bible, you will get the grace of the scriptures. When you have problem or anything, some of the teachings will help you. It will show you the solution of your problem. Then Atma Kripa, grace of your own self. Your Guru may give food to you, but if you do not eat, you will suffer from hunger. You will have to eat. Guru cannot eat for you. Self-effort is very important. And then Ishwar Kripa. If you make effort, God will come forward to help you. The scripture says, Ishvara anugrahat pungsam advaita vasana. It is the grace of God that a person desires to realize that non-dual Brahman. Grace. It is God's grace that you have come here today to learn more about Vedanta, more about these great Swamis. It is the grace. You know, sometimes I think you St. Louis people must be very lucky that at least 3 times a day, 3 times a week, 3 hours you can have holy company. It is not available everywhere, I tell you, even not even in India, in many places. And if you read the scriptures, Shastra Drishti khule jai. Swami Dhireshananda, if you read his letters, you will find that new thoughts, new ideas, which reveal some revelations come from the talk. That morning he told me, you know, we talk about God, Brahman, it cannot be expressed. Upashanto ayam atma. A student came to the teacher and asked, could you teach me what is God, what is Brahman? The guru kept quiet. He repeated a few times, he did not answer. Then he finally said, I am teaching you all the time, if you do not understand, what can I do? Maunam, upashanto ayam atma, silence is Brahman, do not talk. That would be nice if I had not to talk. I shall come here and just sit here and keep quiet, and you keep quiet 1 hour. That would be nice. I will not have to prepare any lecture anymore. Then he said, in Yogavasishta Ramayana, he told a funny story. Rama went to Vasishta. And Vasishta gave all the lessons and then he kept quiet. Then Rama said, why don't you talk? Well, there is nothing more to say. This is the final teaching. Maunam, silence, do not talk. Then why that you could tell me in the very beginning, then we had not to work so hard and listen all these things. But do you know what? If I would give this last message in the beginning, people would think I am stupid. I do not know anything. So I have gave all sermons, now I kept quiet. Then he told me another beautiful incident. Sometimes problems. He gave an example that how we are tormented by Maya. Here is a dog has a wound, and it is in a cage. So it is suffering from within. And when the dog came out, that inner suffering, physical suffering is there. Moreover, some flies are sitting there and some bugs and biting. So more trouble. So he says, human beings have inside many bad desires, many inner problems are there. But when he goes out in the external world and sees all kinds of temptations, he's like flies, it bites them more and he suffers more. Very interesting way he used to talk to me. Then he says, you know, if you do not have very good discrimination and dispassion, these spiritual, these Vedantic teachings will not penetrate inside you. It may develop your intellectual faculty, but not spiritual growth. Then he mentioned there are 4 kinds of intellects. First, stone intellect. If you hit a nail in the stone, the nail will break. Second, rubber intellect. If you hit the nail, it will go and it will come back. Leather intellect. If you hit it, it will go only this much and then it will remain there. And then water intellect. Now, oil intellect. If you put a drop of oil on a bucket of water, immediately it covers the entire surface of the bucket. So some people have tremendous grasping power. He was talking about how many types of intellect we find in this world. Then he made a very funny story. There was one Swami, his name was Chetanananda. He wanted to give a lecture. Swami Brahmananda said, all right, you will have to give a lecture, but you will have to dress like Swami Vivekananda. They put a turban on, so he dressed. So Swami Vivekananda, and he invited all monks and the devotees, and Swami Vivekananda was there. Swami Brahmananda said, I propose Swami Dhireshananda should take the chair. He is the president of this meeting. Saying so, he sat down. Swami Dhireshananda got up and said, I dissolve this meeting. Then Chetanananda started to cry, Maharaj, I dressed up and memorized my lecture and there is no meeting, what can I do? Maharaj said, it is not in my hand, the president dissolved it. Maharaj sometimes used to make joke, fun with these people, A monk came and said, I am practicing japa and meditation, but I am not getting any result. You see, in result in English, in Bengali, it's called phal. Phal. So phal means fruit. So Brahmananda asked one of his attendants, when that monk was meditating in the shrine, let's take this apple and put in front of him. So when that monk saw, oh my goodness, an apple in front of me, that monk came to Swami Brahmananda. Brahmananda said, have you got the fruits? Have you got the result? You know, Maharaj is making all kinds of jokes. He taught me another thing, that is called Shandhi, junction. I shall never forget that one. It was evening, just before supper. I went to his room. Because he just got up from his meditation and told me, Tumi Shandhi dekhte jano? Do you know how to see the juncture? Uncle Maharaj, I don't know. You have a necklace, pearl necklace. Here is a pearl, here is a pearl, here is a pearl. All these pearls are connected with a thread or a string or something. You see all these pearls, otherwise pearls will disintegrate. So between these two pearls, from a distance you're going to see it. But when you are close, if you minutely watch it, you see there is something holding these two pearls. Watch the next junction, same thread. Next junction, same thread. Next junction, same thread. The thread is holding all these pearls. What is that thread? That thread is consciousness. On that consciousness, each pearl is a vritti, thought wave, thought wave, thought wave, thought wave, thought wave. Billions and millions of thought waves is jumping on that thread. The thread is holding all of our thoughts. Then he was telling, if you watch carefully, if you know this thread, consciousness, and this vritti, do you know what kind of vritti you are supposed to raise in your mind? He mentioned, quoting the scripture, Aham, Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, Satya, Sabhava, Paramananda, Ananta, Adhyam, Brahma, Iti, Akhanja Karita, Chitta Vritti, Udeti. He quoted from the Vedanta Sara. This experience will come. Instead, I am Chetanananda, I am a monk, I am this, I am that, I. Only that thought come, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. This is the way one should watch Shandhi. You know, I learned something new. I have never heard that one. He was talking about, do you know what is the problem? Problem is ego. In spiritual life, ego is the big problem. If I is there, world is there. If I is not there, world is not there. I. There is a beautiful story. A jackal was carried by the current of the river, and the jackal was shouting, "The world is drowning, the world is drowning." A monk rescued that jackal and said, "Why do you say the world was drowning?" "Well, if I am drowned, the whole world is drowned." So it is true, this I. Then he said, this I can be spiritualized by two ways. One way is Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, and second way, Ami Sharanagata. I take refuge in you, Lord. In this way you can curb your ego. He told many stories that in Uttarkashi, how he practiced his spiritual disciplines with other monks. Anyhow, my 1 hour is over. So I met him last in 1997 in Concord. Then in 1998, the Swami passed away. I am very, very grateful to the Swami. I learned many, many things from him. He's a great soul. Thank you. Matma me shuddhantam jyotiraham viraja vipapma bhuyasam. Antaratma me shuddhantam jyotiraham viraja vipapma bhuyasam. Paramatma me shuddhantam jyotiraham viraja vipapma bhuyasam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May my body become pure. May I be free from impurities and ignorance. May I realize myself as the light divine. May my mind become pure. May I be free from impurities and ignorance. May I realize myself as the light divine. May my soul become pure. May I be free from impurities and ignorance. May I realize myself as the light divine. Oh, peace, peace, peace be untold.